Hello everybody, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Land Warfare. I'm 4040 and today joining me in the co-pilot seat is Lord Darkane.
Hello.
And well, we've got a two-seater aircraft, so it kind of makes sense. Now we are still sat in the Pathfinder Mark 2.5. Just because we changed the wheels last time, and we are sat at Kerbal Lake, which is currently the forefront of our little empire, which is that island over there, and the Kerbal Space Center, which is all the way over there on that piece of land there. But we intend on expanding our horizons, and well, we need to take over Ben Bay, which is right there, and we've got the options of taking the Pathfinder back off again, which we've refueled and rearmed and just got a fresh crew, or we launch a boat from the island, I guess, because even though there's a cove here, there's no infrastructure there, and take the boat all the way around to Ben Bay and deal with it. But like hopping over with an aircraft is a much more of a better opportunity. And once we do that, that means Ben Bay is kind of on the front lines, and it will allow us to have control of the entire eastern seaboard, as we've got Ben Bay, which is a ship, definitely a good place for ships, as well as two massive airports. So we're firing up the engines and disengaging the brakes, and let's see if we can take off without hitting anything.
Or tipping over.
There you go, surface speeds. Well, because of the slope of the land, the airship is naturally inclined to go towards these buildings that we're just going past. And take off. There you go, it's about the right speed to take off. About 80 to 100 is the right speed to land and take off, I find. So I'm just going to bring the gear up, and that raises the centre of mass a little bit, so it makes the craft a bit more controllable. And we are going, so we're going to bring up BD Armory and start working out all of our tools. So as usual, we're going to flick to Team B, arm our trigger. We're going to bring up our modules. We're going to bring up the targeting ball, the radar warning receiver, and the ECM jammer is going to be activated. We don't need the GPS coordinator, the wing command, or the random. The random is for anti-aircraft. So if we notice that there are aircraft defending the sites, which there very well could be, and if there's enemy aircraft defending the sites, then we'd have to activate our nose-mounted radar. But we don't have any air-to-air weaponry currently on our airships, which is maybe a bit of an oversight. But this is literally just a Pathfinder. It does what it says on the tin. It's you can see my shadow on the floor there.
Yeah. Remember, you might want to pull up pretty fast, seeing how close they are this time.
Yeah, well, we're nosing up. We are at 20 degrees nose up, and we are climbing at 1.5 kilometers up, and we can already see Ben Bay from here. Now you notice I'm not heading directly at Ben Bay. That gives us the ability to. It gives us the ability to maybe circle a little bit if we need to continue climb. So Ben Bay is, as you can see, we've got, looking on the screen here, we've got the one of the port areas extending out into the ocean, and there's some more port areas here, and you can see there's a lighthouse, and it's got a bay, so it's a pretty important port if you want to have any ocean travel or any ocean deployment. Now it looks like I'm getting a few contacts around here, so I'm just going to keep pulling the nose of the craft up. We're doing 130. Oh, we're starting to reduce in speed now. We've got, let's have a look, what have we got to target? We've got a flak cannon by the looks of it, to some description. Now flak cannons are very good defensive, but they're not very good at attacking anything because they have such short range. We've got a missile turret that is dangerous. We've got the command bunker itself. And what else do we have? Got another goalkeeper. Okay, so the goalkeeper, that is once again going to be my primary target, which is about somewhere around there. We are quite the distance away from it, so we are 12 kilometers away from it. We're still climbing, and we want to get up to our operational height of 5 kilometers before we do our initial passover. Now we're coming up with to 8.2 on the flak there, and we're just waiting. As soon as we ping in, it's going to start telling us there's radar and everything. So I'm hoping our radar warning receiver will light up like a Christmas tree. I'm just curving it around. Now we are offering them quite a large profile because we're a big flat. Now we've just had a pause. The game is having a think, and it is going to be loading in a load of physics. Okay, would have loaded in a physics for that. I can see a pixel just down there, but yep, there's more pausing going on. More physics is loading. Yay! At some point we should be able to see that goalkeeper as well. I'm not sure whether we should take a speculative shot. We are only 5 kilometers up and we are basically above the target area.
Well, if you can get a lock on it, then you may as well.
I think that's it there. Got something. There they are. They're all starting to load in now. So this big square thing. There we go. We have got radar. Okay, that looks like the big. That's the command bunker. Big square thing. Something up here. Let's have a look what that thing is. Just looks like a pixel at the moment, but that definitely looks like the goalkeeper. Yeah, it's the same kind of like chassis that we're used to.
Yep.
What else have we got? We've got something over here. Now I think when we looked at this, it said it was some kind of like missile artillery piece or something. Let's have a look. Let's just move it out. Move the crosshair out of the way. Yeah, it definitely looks like some kind of missile. You can see them kind of sticking up like almost like a very small tower. Again, it might be a bit hard to see on YouTube because of the resolution, but there's definitely something there. And there's another pixel just on that. We can see it highlighted up for us. And we're passing directly over the site now. And that looks like which one is that? Let's hover over that one. That's the flak, and it definitely looks like there's some kind of cannon. It looks like it's on the standard kind of the standardized base that the Northern Coalition like to put their vehicles on. But out of everything, I'm always afraid of the goalkeeper, because the goalkeeper is just so accurate and puts out so much DPS so quickly that, and I have countermeasures against missiles, and the countermeasure against the flak is just to keep away from it, I guess. We are only picking up one radar receiving at the moment, which is fine because we are out of range. We're basically passing over the whole lot of them. They are all active. It could be that we just need to kind of wake them up a bit, but we're definitely getting pinged. Okay. Jammer is active, which is good, which does help with them not being able to pick us up. And we are very slightly inside of their weapons envelope. We are within 4.9 kilometers of one or two of these things, and there's a slight rise. So the things that are at towards the mainland down here are slightly higher up, but we don't appear to be being engaged at all. Nothing's locked onto us yet, which is good. I'm just going to speed up time a little bit just to pull away, and then we can do an attack run. Okay, we're definitely detecting quite a lot coming in here. So I'm just going to double click there to see if I can... Will you let me pick you out as a target? Okay, just equip me as a target, and this tells me on the nav ball that whether I'm lined up or not, which is useful for me doing gunnery. We're only getting one, and I suspect that one is going to be the goalkeeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire a AGM, because we're already laser designated. I'm going to fire an AGM ahead just to distract them. You see, it started to actively trying to ping me there because it's noticing the bounces, and because it's actively pinging me there, I'm going to fire a harm. And you see it's tumbling away from the airship now. I've got a long drop time on that because it is just a big missile. Okay. And now we're going to swap over to the howitzer. We're getting within 5.5 kilometers, so we're going to fire off our first cannon shot. We have a missile. It has been launched. There is a missile inbound. You can see the contrail of it. Second cannon round has been fired. The guns are now reloading. I can see the goalkeeper is indeed firing off. We're going to launch another AGM just to distract these guys, and I am pulling away. Once I've pulled away, I lose the ability to... Oh, you see the explosions? That is the flat cannon. That is the power of the flat cannon.
Oh.
Okay, the round is incoming on the Gatling cannon. There are explosions on the floor. The Gatling cannon has been hit by the incoming rounds. You can see the last spray. The last spray, and the harm is in. Harm looks like it is incoming, or at least it's trying to seek out what looks like the flat cannon. It looks like those two are joining over there. I'm not going to be able to move this quick enough to be able to see the explosion, I don't think. Not in any. Alright, there has been another explosion, as you can see there. It looks like the harm did its job. That was an amazing strike by the harm. A very good strike. I'm just going to straighten our aircraft out and see what damage has been done. So that's 2 defences down. The harm missiles are doing their jobs by the seams of it. At least to be able to do their jobs quite well. There is not much left of that weapons platform. You can see bits of it still falling to the floor there. It just bounces off. That's definitely chassis. Oh, there we go. There goes another bit just exploding. So that is the flak turret dealt with the harm missile. It was definitely throwing out. It took out at least one of the missiles, I reckon. There were explosions that I was hearing, so the flak cannon was definitely deadly. But can you imagine accidentally flying your ship too close to that flak cannon? So you imagine the amount of firepower that it puts out, all those explosions, that would just wreck you. Right, we're still getting incoming pings. We've still got 2 incoming pings. What I want to do is deal with a missile launcher next. Now what I want to do is, because we've got it laser designated, what I want to do is fire a missile off now. We've got an S and a D. So there's 2 different types of radar signals. Looks like we've got a direct and a scanner. So 2 different types of missile signals going on there. Well, that is my next target. So I'm going to just edge the craft's nose around. There we go. We're going to lose some height here, but I'm going to fire off 1 AGM. Because we're facing up to the target, I'm hoping that that sweeps ahead of me and distracts the missile-based system as we come in. We're outside of its missile engagement. I want this, the AGM-50, the AGM-114 to sweep in ahead of me, because we've been fighting and spiraling around our target. We have lost quite a lot of height, which is fine, especially as that flat cannon and the danger of the goalkeeper, which is the 30mm rotary cannon, are now dealt with, I'm a bit more confident about getting closer to the ground. We're going to fire another missile off just to make sure, in case that first missile is taken out. Wow, it just flashed across the lens of the camera there, we just saw that. We're definitely getting some kind of ping. It looks like they are locking on. We're just waiting for the... We're going to fly past it. It'll also tell me if there's been a missile launch. There was a missile launch. So this thing is definitely active, but it seems to be trying to acquire a lock-on maybe. Because it's not... Have you noticed it's not popping onto my signal there? Which means that because it's not firing... scanning for me, it is locked on to the missile instead, and it has stopped scanning. It means the radar dish is probably pointing directly at the missile rather than spinning in a circle like it does when it's trying to scan for me. So we're getting really close here, and the AGMs are about to sweep in. It looks like this thing is having a lot of trouble trying to lock onto the very small target that is the incoming missiles. They're not easy for this type of weapons platform to hit. And as it gets distracted by them versus me, it should be trying to concentrate on me, but it is getting distracted. There are 2 missiles about to hit it. They're about to merge with it. You can see them coming over there. We'll probably see them in a second. There it comes. There's the shadow. And there's the detonation. And there go the rest of the munitions. You usually get a multiple... You see the munitions just flying up in the air there. If I move the camera up, that is the tower that the rockets are kept on, and that has just been sprung up in the air. So I can imagine that. Yep, there we go. That will detonate when it hits the ground like that. Okay, so that has been detonated. So usually when you take the rockets out, they are quite spectacular. Yeah, all kinds of explosions going on. What are we left with? We are left with. Let's orientate ourselves. To zoom out a bit, we want to go. We've still got the command bunker. Now, so far as yet, the command bunker has not actually locked onto me, and I'm not trying to. Oh, I see. Okay, so the radar that's on it.
Yeah.
You see the radar dish, which is spinning around very slowly. That is a.
Oh, yeah.
Now that is not a weaponized radar dish. So that thing can see for 20 kilometers, so it will give warnings, and if it's linked into the system, like I assume it would, it arms everybody else and provides them with an advanced warning. But that's not the kind of system which can actually do me any harm. So we're going to circle around, and because it is firing, it is producing a radar signal, so I'm kind of hoping that the harms will be able to lock onto that. It might not, because it is a more of a passive radar system than an active radar system. And I'm just going to point my nose towards it and drop my first harm. Anti-radiation missile. And then we're going to straighten up. And try... It's actually lagging behind us. Try not to actually have it hit us. That would be inconvenient, wouldn't it? Shot with your own missile.
Well, it probably wouldn't be the first time someone's done that.
Well, it's got a 2-second delay, and I'm just going to drop another one and pull away from it. Okay, so there are 2 anti-radiation, anti-radar missiles heading in. We've got a very long fuse time on that drop, just to make sure that these larger than normal rockets, you see them tracking into the target as well. That's a beautiful shot on the tracking. Now let's see if I can flick to. It might not be a good idea because of the amount of debris there are. No, that's not a good idea. Let's leave that alone. Okay. I was going to follow the harms down, but there's just far too much stuff. Okay, the harms are still locked on. I could fire another one. It's still showing me that there's a signal.
Yeah, go on.
But as soon as the signal dies, I suspect the harm will not lock on. Okay, first harm is coming in. You see there's quite a slow rocket. That is an impact. We have an impact. The harm has...
Not done much.
The harm has done some damage. Got another harm coming in though. I'm going to fire off a couple of AGMs as well. Second harm has struck. It looks like it's blown off.
That's a lot more.
It is blown off below the side panels. It appears to have lost its radar communications, but it looks like they're still in some kind of shape. And then third harm and the AGMs are coming in. The AGMs are the big ground hitting. The harms appear to be a little bit less damaging. They definitely have a less of an area of effect. Okay, there is the other harm. It just slammed into them. It's not really aimed. There it goes. There go the explosions of the AGMs just pouring into that grid section. Look at the bits just flying around. I'm just going to zoom out. You can see the explosions. Still explosions.
But you're still getting a signal of something down there.
Yeah, we do indeed still have a signal. Now I'm not quite sure what that signal is going to be. Looks like there's a commands module down there, maybe. But it definitely looks like we have disabled. There is definitely something down there, but I'm fairly sure at this point that we have managed to get rid of it. We're going to get rid of the radar warning receiver. Or should I leave it on in case there's anything hidden? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. There are different tactics you can do, as well as having a radar on your artillery piece, which is most typical because it means they're mobile. You can have artillery pieces that have which are linked to a radar, but they don't have a radar themselves, or they could have an inactive radar, which then activates. So you can have like several radars around, all sending their link to one weapons platform. So that would nullify my use of harm missiles, because I'd be able to take out the radars, but I wouldn't. The harm missiles would never lock on to the weapons platform, because the weapons platform is just using the data. It's not actually broadcasting any signals that I can lock onto. Although I still will have the opportunity to use the laser designated. But that is one way of getting around like these harm long range. I mean, you've got the you've got the harms, but you also have the access to the Exocet intercept missile, which is also an anti-radiation. I'm just going to turn the engines off for a second because we're diving in. I just want to get a bit of a closer look at what's going on here. 400 meters, we're okay. And we're starting to bring our velocity marker up to the horizon line. Definitely looks like a lot of debris there. That is definitely some kind of living space or living module. Wow, just more explosions. Okay, so I want that living module to survive, because I want to capture prisoners. And I've got to work out a safe landing spot. We are kind of getting close to landing speed. The land is actually coming up to meet us. Okay, so we're just flaring out, and just turn the brakes on. Brakes help us, and I'm going to deploy the parachutes. And this is a bit lumpy bumpy, so we want to stop and slow down as much as possible to get as much lift taken away from the wing surfaces as possible. There we go. So basically, we don't want a random bump to launch us back up into air, and for that to give us just enough airspace for us to crash straight out down again, because it does happen. Okay, we've made it. We have landed. We've landed on quite the slope actually, and we've got more than half of our payloads in the air-to-ground missiles there. We could have fired them off to lighten up the load. But we have made it. We're about to capture Ben Bay. So let's get you up. Come on, stop lying around. I just they just sit there for a little while, just like la la la, looly looly loom. Go on then, mister. Down you come. Up to daisy. No, mind the ammo cap. Let's not walk on those bits. That is the ammo crates right next to the fuel pumps.
Well, that was a smart design.
It's the only way that we could get the links. Well, you've got to store the ammo somewhere, and pretty much most of the ship is made out of fuel. Right, let's walk down to the engines and then drop off where the engines are. His feet are probably a bit warm at this point. Bump! they just go flump. Okay, so this is the Cryox Industries, so CI. And this is Ben Bay. Yeah, Cryox Industries, Ben Bay. I'm not going to rename it as a regional command point because, well, it's not. Well, we have captured Ben Bay, ladies and gentlemen. We have landed safe. We're right by the main port area. We could probably wheel the aircraft over there. Now, this is the section that interests me. That. I want to see what's in that. Which we should get to. There we go. How many crew are alive? Do we have any crew?
How many
We do!
do we have?
There are 3 crew members. Let's have a look at... Where are they? Yes. We have 3 enemy combatant crew members who we are going to be interrogating. So these guys are at our mercy. They can't really go anywhere because if they do, we'll just take off on our airplane and shoot them. So we're going to send them an ultimatum along the lines of, you better do what you're told. We're not going to harm you. We just want to ask you a load of questions about your tactical resources. So that's a really good turn up that we've managed to capture a load of enemy combatants. We haven't destroyed our ship by landing it because that's totally not something that we would ever do. And all of our Kerbals are safe and sound. So yeah, we're going to have to reinforce these sites, though. That's one thing we're going to have to do. We've got Ben Bay, and we also have got, over in the distance there, we have the island. So this is the coast, the current coast at the moment. But there are still quite a lot of enemy installations. So we're going to go to the map screen and show you what is left to do. We've got the Kerbal Space Center runway and the KSP Islands, which... Let's get the airstrip, there you go. Poorly maintained airfield on small islands near the Kerbal Space Center. Once used as a pilot training facility, the airbase was abandoned when the canteen ran out of snacks. It has now been repurposed by Mr. Lord Darkane's the Jade Dragon Empire, was it?
Yep.
And we also managed to capture the island resort, which is a helipad. When the Space Center Agency insisted on their superstar Kerbonaut getting a hefty rise and a bonus to all of his efforts getting the space program off the ground, Jebediah invested wisely in establishing a retreat on the island near the KSC that he could escape to when media attention was too much. It has a helipad and has got some very large satellite arrays. This is a very useful site for tracking what things are in orbit. And we decided that control of this was important because that would give us some advance warning of any ICBMs that might be incoming. Now, we have captured Kerbin Lake in the previous episode, which is a privately owned corporate development zone, or at least was, with a large airbase. The airbase is available for a variety of aerospace operations, and the KSC is given good discount for any missions slated to use it. So, we've got Kerbin Lake runway, and the island runway and the KSC runway. So we have a lot of options for deployment. We also have the Helipad Islands Resort and Ben Bay, which is a coastal facility. When Karash, Kerbin was denied multiple times permission to construct his company's headquarters on KSC's beach. He found a nearby bay, excavated the beach, built a hut, huge subterranean facility, very interesting there, and stuck a tower on top of it. Welcome to Cash Corp. Well, it is now, well, it is Ben Bay, and we have taken Ben Bay. That underground facility, that research facility, is going to give us a lot of options, especially for defense, because it's an underground facility. Things like bombs and missiles aren't really going to do much to us once we get ourselves in there. We just need some surface defenses. Well, this now forms the entire east coast of the Kerbin Peninsula, and the south coast of the Kerbin Peninsula is ours. There is still the Black Crags regional western command center. We have up here is Kola Crater, Guardian's Basin and Sanctuary Mouth to be able to claim back my lands, and once we've claimed them back, that this area is being captured. Mount Snowy is going to be an incredibly hard nut to crack. Just the amount of defences. It is their capital, most highly defended position on this peninsula because, as well as the KSC, it has a major launch pad which is very high up in the mountains that allows the use of deployment of ICBM weaponry. And if we captured that, that gives us opportunities to launch, perhaps even ballistically launch an assault with parachutes and vehicles that we could launch into the atmosphere and loop over onto the other continents. That could be an interesting idea to do. Lots of little assault vehicles that break up and then rain down on the enemy with guard mode activated with guns underneath them, so they all point down and shoot lots, and while they drift down on parachutes. That sounds like an insanely cool idea. But we also have, as well as the homeland of the bad guys of the northern coalition, because they come from the northern part of this land. The KS2 is their capital. We also have the homeland of Mr. Darkane, as you see over here. It actually has two very heavily defended sites, and of course Green Peaks is your capital base, which is mostly underground, is as a small above ground presence and a very large underground city area. And
much like Ben Bay.
Yeah, pretty much like Ben Bay, really. And well, it is built into the side of a mountain as well. There's quite some steep slopes there, so it makes a lot of sense. So, I'm going to say thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I have been 4040. With me today has been Mr. Darkane.
Indeed.
And this has been the Kerbal Space Program Land Warfare, and we are going to be seeing you in the next episode. Bye now.